Hello, and welcome to this week's Monkey Nut Punch podcast with me, your gorgeous host Gareth, and my equally gorgeous co-host Keith. Say hello, Keith.
God, something's happened this week. He's in a good mood.
All right, it's got a face like some vehicle's reversed into it. How about that?
That's better. Normal service resumed. Nothing's happened this week, then.
Nothing's happened this week. There was some news. I got round to watching Reacher, which returned. So I watched the first 3 episodes of Reacher, which I really enjoyed. Then I've got some good news in regards to a TV series that needs to have something happen, which we'll talk about. And then I watched Thomas Crown Affair, which I'm going to be honest with you, it sags in the middle. I say it sags in the middle. But we'll get around to that with our John McTiernan feature that we're doing. But we've got some news. So Keith, what have you been up to?
Watching shitloads. I mean, I kind of had stuff on in the background, and I was sort of like zooming through Disney Plus, and I ended up watching all 3 Captain America films this week, right? Then watching all 3 Avengers films. I say 3 because I did not watch Endgame, because that ruins the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it's unbelievable how bad now when you watch those movies again and realize how good they are, and you're like, I really enjoyed these movies. I really like these movies, right? I want more of this. The whole superhero fatigue thing is bullshit. It's shit movie fatigue.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, you bring out another film of the caliber of Winter Soldier, everybody will love Marvel again. It's true.
It is. It's true. I don't know, but I don't think they're capable of it. I think they fired all the decent people. I think they don't no longer pride themselves on the quality of the output that they're doing, and that's going to be an issue. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks bad.
I've watching a load of other stuff this week as well. So I mean, I've done Reacher, I've done 0 Day with Robert De Niro. I have done Paradise. I have done Severance. Yes, I've done it
Severance.
All. Yeah.
What do you call it? I like Paradise. I really like Paradise. It's got a nice pace to it.
Mm-hmm.
It really has a nice pace to it. If I compare it to The Silo, in 6 episodes, it got there where The Silo took 2 seasons, and still isn't there, which I found amazing.
I think it was a mistake to take 2 books to convert one book, 2
series to do 1 book.
To convert 1 book that isn't a particularly long book.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one.
And and the thing is, right, we've now got 2 seasons to do 2 books, so hopefully it will speed up a bit.
Yeah. So, let's get on with our very first piece of news. I'll have this.
Well.
Recent reports suggest that Ncuti Gatwa, who has assumed the role of Doctor Who in 2023, may be departing Doctor Who after the upcoming 15th season. These rumours have raised concerns about the show's future, especially with the declining in viewership and criticism in regards to recent storylines. However, the BBC refuted claims that the series has been cancelled, stating that the decision about future series will be made after the current episodes have aired. Oh, that's not good. Gatwa's potential exit is reportedly influenced by a desire to pursue opportunities in Hollywood, with plans to relocate to Los Angeles. Good luck with that. Additionally, there are indications that he has already filmed his regeneration scene, suggesting a transition to the new Doctor is forthcoming. The series faces challenges, including a significant drop in viewership from its peak, which was approximately 3.5 million for recent episodes. The backlash from some fans is perceived as woke storylines. These contributing factors have contributed to uncertainty about the show, its direction, and longevity. Fuck me sideways. As of now, the BBC has not confirmed Gatwa's departure, and the future of Doctor Who remains under evaluation, with the official decision pending reception of the upcoming series.
You got to love the media. Some fans think this is woke. Okay, so let's look at Doctor Who viewership, even in Jodie Whittaker's time, right? It was on average between 4 and 5 million, right? Yep. On average, 3 million. That's 40% of the Jodie Whittaker audience that no longer like it. And now let's look at it when it was what's his face, averaging
Capaldi.
7 to 8 million. So that's 60%. It's not some fans; it's the entire bloody fan base.
I would like to point out Peter Capaldi had a very weird thing with his viewing figures, because his overnights would be 4 to 5. And then he gained 2 million of people who went back and watched it, which is an odd one.
Capaldi was look. I like Capaldi's Doctor. The writing started going downhill at that point, but I like Capaldi's Doctor. Matt Smith is still the Doctor Who peak, and that was 10 million, nearly between 8 and Doctor Who hasn't. Again, it's not fatigue, right? Because shows like The Simpsons are consistently still bringing and have been going for years. It's not fatigue of these shows. It's shit writing. It's a lack of ideas. And then you bring in a guy that's head is so far up his arse and his ego is literally the side of the planet that when we celebrate 60 years of the show, we don't celebrate 60 years of the show. We celebrate Russell T Davis's greatest hits. Because please go back and watch those 60 anniversary episodes and show me where that's a celebration of Doctor Who and not just Russell T Davis.
I've brought this up before when we talked about Doctor Who. One of the most egregious things that they did was there was a TV documentary on the first Doctor called Adventures in Time and Space, and at the end of it you had Matt Smith as like an appearance in like looking on from the 50th all the way down to that very start, and then they replaced them with Ncuti Gatwa, and it was fucking terrible. When you hear about 1984 where they have the Ministry of Truth and they're rewriting history, it felt like that, and I was like, this is not good. This is not good at all.
They keep replaying that damn clip with Russell T Davis talking about Davros, and it makes my blood boil even now. And I cannot believe that he hasn't been cancelled for this, because what actually he's saying is insulting.
It's so. I always felt that all he had to do is say the following: Julian Bleach is an old man approaching 60. Putting him in £50 of makeup every day, it's not necessarily the best thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a pre-wheelchair Davros so we can get to see a new side of Davros. But instead of selling it like that, no, wheelchair people are evil. Professor fucking X, the first person I think of, he's not evil. He's a fucking superhero. He does the X-Men, and he's like a proper good guy, yeah? And then you've got like Ironside too. Yeah, it's like kind of, where the fuck have you been? I'm sorry. Give me a goddamn break. Sorry.
I said he lives in a bloody echo chamber. But, I mean, the thing is, I think what's happened in these media is they've cancelled and fired and got rid of anybody that doesn't think the same way as them. So now they've created these bubbles, these chambers, and they think the whole world thinks like them. There's no one there to give a counter argument. There's no one there to give another side. I mean, you look at what they did to Zachary Levi, who by all accounts is actually quite a nice guy. And I mean, his career's been ruined because he dared to vote for the other side. And I do think this, and I'm not going to get into the politics, but I do think that these people, they are almost borderline fascists in terms of the way they act.
I heard of, I don't know if it was Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro or someone like that, where they describe woke people want to be arseholes, but they want to feel like they are moral being arseholes towards people. And that's what it is. He's being moral and an arsehole towards people. So deep down, he's an arsehole who doesn't like people. And he's using this as an excuse to be an arsehole towards people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, I saw some of his tweets when people called him on the disabilities thing, and he was just, I mean, he was vicious and vile. And look, he produced 8 episodes. This wasn't even worthy of his original writing. The Doctor changed his face because he wanted to, right? We spent 8 episodes building up Ruby Sunday's mum. Oh, she was normal. And it's like, you can't. Is that like an undercover Nige? Oh, right.
No, that's an undercover Duncan.
Okay.
Sorry, got a house full of guests in the moment.
Slightly inebriated by the looks of it. I mean, the whole mysteries were lame. It's almost like it couldn't be asked. I mean, the Doctor changed his face because he missed that face. That's a sign of I can't be asked to write anything good. The only reason I've come back is because I've been smacked so fucking hard in the face by the wokey pokey stick that that's all I can think about. This is no longer about writing good stories. This is writing. This is about an agenda, and Disney gave them 100 million for it. Disney.
Oh, hang on a second, Keith. 100 million pounds.
I know.
Not dollars.
So
pounds.
It's beyond. How did Disney keep getting away with this? I know how they did. They lie to their shareholders, right? They lie to their shareholders. Oh, Captain America: Brave New World only cost 180 million. That's because you wrote it off as a different movie to the original Captain America: Brave New World that you wrote, which probably ended up costing you 200 million. But we can hide that by writing that off and refilming the entire movie, which we can do as a new corporation. It is beyond dodgy. Disney is criminal.
I'm gonna argue with you, because knowing how films and games are put together, that whole game, that weird shell game that they're playing, is the norm. Believe it or not.
Oh, I know it's the
and
norm.
It does from us from
but it's
us,
beyond
from our perspective. If we had a $100 million failure, we would be out on our asses. Full stop.
I agree with you, but it's beyond corrupt, and these people dare to lecture us. These people who are corrupt on God knows how many levels dare to lecture us. Dare to try and say we are morally above you, because that's what Russell T Davies is doing every time he's fucking interviewed, right? He says these things. I am fed up of these people thinking that they are more moral than us. They're not. They are beneath. They are corrupt, and it's beyond a joke.
Just because we're talking about morals, have you heard of the trolley problem?
No, go on.
Okay, so the trolley problem goes like this, yeah. There's a trolley barreling down a set of rails, yeah, and it's heading towards 5 people tied to that track, yeah, and it'll kill those 5 people, pretty much guaranteed. But there is one person tied to the track on the other side. If you pull the thingy, it'll kill the one person. If you leave it, it'll kill the 5 people. So I thought about this because I wanted to know how moral I am, and my brain went, there's another solution to this. So, knowing what I've just told you, what would be your, how would you see this? How would you solve the trolley problem? What would be your choice?
Give me that one more time, just so I can figure that out in my head.
So you have a trolley, and it's barreling down a track.
Yeah.
And if you flip a lever, if you barrel down a track, it will kill 5 people.
Right.
But if you flip a lever, it will just kill 1 person. What do you do?
Probably push the lever, but I know there's probably
So you would have what's referred to as a utilitarian view on that. Okay, so I looked at that and I came up with 2 other possible solutions. So my other 2 possible solutions is I would try and jam the track when you have to flip the switch, so it's halfway between, so it derails. Mm-hmm. Okay, so part of that, and then the other one, which I thought was the more moral one, would be to throw myself in front of the trolley to stop it from going down the tracks.
But that kills two. Well, technically, it could only
That just kills me. So no, because if I throw myself in front of it and stop the train, then I stop the one person from getting killed. Yes, I'd flip it to the one, throw myself in front of it, because if I do fuck up, it only ever kills one person. But if you asked them to do it, they'll draw a loop at the end, so when it hits the 5 people, it comes back round and gets the other person. Sorry, really crap joke I was building to, but hey, it's just a little moral test to see how you think about these things. I like to think
I would
like
try
to
and
think I'm a
kill the
moral
least
person.
amount of people, but
Yeah, you got the utilitarian view. The other one too is it's like kind of, how do you know that those 5 people? It's just like, kind of imagine it was like 5 murderers or something. Yeah, you don't know. So it's like, oh, the other thing too is how do you know they didn't deserve it? How do you know about doing your intervention? How about if the other one's a child on the other side? You don't know these things, so my brain's like kind of what to do.
it's the test that they do in Batman Dark Knight, isn't it? Where the Joker has a bunch of criminals and a bunch of normal people, and the criminals don't do it. And I know enough to know that you say it's 5 murderers, but why are they murderers? What are they in for? You know, are they murderers because they killed in self-defense? That kind of thing. I mean, if we're going to get into those sort of psychological things, but I mean,
It's an interesting one. I encourage people to write down their possible solutions in the comments for that, because it's always something that interests me, because I always try to think of, there must be something out of that binary choice. What can I do that's outside that binary choice to make a difference?
but you could argue that it's Kobayashi Maru, but that there is a no-win scenario. So what do? You try to cause the least amount of thing. But if there was an option to throw yourself in front of it, then
It's odd, yeah. So Anyway,
I
just
mean,
to go on morality, because
Yeah.
as I said, I think these people wouldn't even consider throwing themselves in front of that trolley.
I
as an
don't think
option.
Russell T Davies is a moral person. I don't like
No, I
the
don't
way
think
he, you know, just because he's gay, right, and that's fine. It's still kind of creepy when there was that original picture of Ncuti Gatwa with his kind of top off, who is a much younger man than Russell T Davies, and Russell T Davies was kind of crawling all over him. There's something.
Yeah. Not quite right there. Yes. We're smelling a bit of Harvey Weinstein here, shall we say?
There's something there that felt a bit, you know, there is a certain, you know, there's almost like I'm a homosexual, so I shield myself, you know, behaving like that. You don't see, but it's utter bullshit, right? I mean, Russell T Davies is a bit camp. So is Sir Ian McLennan in real life. You don't see Sir Ian McLennan behaving like that. You don't see Stephen Fry behaving like that. But yet, because he's an outwardly gay man, that's somehow a shield to behave the way he's behaving. And when somebody has fallen off the reservation this much, you often wonder what he's hiding. And I mean, the only person that Russell T Davies has to blame for Doctor Who failing is himself, right? I mean, well, 95% himself. I mean, what's his face did to Doctor Who previous to that pissed off a lot of the fan base, and you know, making the Doctor Who, the first Doctor, a little black girl was just ridiculous. I mean, it took a dump on history. And
just a quick one. When it comes to Russell T Davies and his morality, there was a TV series called Baby Reindeer. Do you remember that? Because he took umbrage with that, because there was a very predatory TV producer who was gay, who took advantage of the guy. And this is based on a true story. Yeah, and it's weird because when you see, because he had his stalker, yeah, but his stalker was nowhere as bad as this predatory producer that he had to deal with, and Russell T Davies took umbrage with that. Makes you think, doesn't it? Gets the old noggin a jogging. I wonder if he's done something similar.
He was very. Russell Tovey was another one that he was a bit odd with.
Yeah.
And he seems to be a bit odd with Ncuti Gatwa, and I find it slightly creepy. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's not my biggest thing. I mean, Doctor Who is probably one of the most egregious shows to be smacked by the wokey pokey stick. The BBC, I truly think the head of BBC drama needs to be fired. The BBC drama is not what it once was. We had one shining light in the form of Ludwig last year, but there should be a few every year. That's what the BBC was made for, and there isn't. The head of BBC drama has to go. The people in Disney that gave £100 million to Doctor Who need to be held up. In the shareholders need to pull their freaking sleeves up and start running this company, because I mean, whatever's going on in Disney is bad. I mean, the BBC is a slightly different thing, unfortunately, but I keep saying this: the BBC has to go, because it is not fit for purpose. It does not represent the public as a whole. It represents a small fraction of the public, and you see it more and more in the programs that they produce. And I am fed up of actors and actresses posting all this thing. Oh, save the BBC! No. And I used to be I mean, when we first started doing this, I defended the BBC quite.
My God! But saying that, when we did that, we had high quality Doctor Who. We had things like Luther, Sherlock, Top Gear, loads of really good quality programs across the board. Now we've got Ludwig, maybe Death in Paradise. That's it. Yeah, and it's not good. Anyway, I think it's time we moved on. So,
but I mean, just before we do,
okay,
it is true. Doctor Who is over. I mean, they have filmed a regeneration scene, but not that he's regenerated into anybody. They haven't cast a new Doctor. They would have filmed his bit, not the other bit.
Yeah. On that note, let's move on to our next story.
Hans Briggs, oh no.
And recent developments indicate a significant shift in the James Bond franchise stewardship. Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, longtime producers and custodians of the 007 legacy, have announced their decision to step back from producing future James Bond films. In a joint venture, they have transferred creative control of the franchise to Amazon MGM Studios, whilst retaining co-ownership of the intellectual property rights. This move follows Amazon's acquisition of MGM in 2022, which included the extensive James Bond catalogue. Mike Hopkins, head of Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios, expressed gratitude to the Broccoli family in their decision and emphasized the company's commitment to honoring the franchise's legacy. Wilson and Broccoli have stated their intentions to focus on other projects, marking the end of an era for their direct involvement in the series. James Bond's now fucked.
Yes.
It's
apparently they paid a bit. I mean, the Broccolis can fuck off. They've just made £1 billion, because that's apparently what they were paid. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
£1 billion. Right?
And they were the ones, when they signed up Daniel Craig, they allowed him to kill off the character.
Yep, which I still think is wrong.
As I said, it should have been left ambiguous. Yeah. It should have been, he wouldn't have survived that explosion, but we never found a body. Something along those lines. Like, it's like kind of, did he get blown up or did he manage to escape? And we never know. And it was left with a quick big question mark. And it looked like he died, but he didn't die. He's on a beach somewhere for the next adventure when he gets a call where he's sitting there somewhere in Thailand, sipping margaritas, enjoying a retirement of sorts, only to be pulled back into the fold. That would have worked. We would have liked that. We could have lived with that.
I mean, you've got bloody Jeff Bezos. Oh God, I can't think of anybody worse. I mean, the guy that called himself an astronaut because he went on his expensive cock-looking rocket with his cowboy hat on. I mean, talk about God.
Oh, did you hear what NASA did?
I sound snobbish, but it's true.
Hang on a second, with Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson. Do you know what they did? They reclassified astronaut. You have to leave the atmosphere completely.
Dude, the real life version of the Moonraker guy is now in charge of fucking James Bond. I mean, the irony.
Yes.
One of the world's richest men who really probably does have a secret fucking lair somewhere, right? Hopefully in a volcano with sharks and freaking laser beams. But
I hope so. I really do.
I mean, Jeff Bezos is the very fucking definition of a Bond crook. Like a Bond bad guy. I mean, he is...
Do you know what I find
This
funny?
guy in charge?
Everyone keeps showing that video of him laughing like a fucking concussed moron.
Yes, I know.
Have you seen that video?
Yes,
and it's
I
just
have.
that makes him look so fucking terrible. The other thing too is that this weird shift. It's like, oh no, Trump's in power. I need to be friendly with Trump because I know that he'll come after me. Blah blah blah. And then it's like, oh, pull your fucking nose out of his ass. Stand by your fucking principles. You weren't Bird beforehand. You own the Washington Post, for Christ's sake. It's funny. What I find funny with these things is if I owned like a newsroom or something along the same lines, yeah, I would have it. I'd split it down the middle and say, Democrats this side, Republicans this side, yeah. I want you to sit down and I want to write an article from a Democrat's perspective and a Republican's perspective. And I want you to argue and have it on air. So every time we've got one of these things, there'll be a debate which covers both sides. And that fight would be interesting because you know that Democrat people will back the Democrat side and the Republican people will back the Republican side. And everyone can watch. And that would be great. But no one can do that because they have to have their echo chamber like we discussed with Russell T Davies. Not you. Not you!
You said the word.
I said the word. I can't say what's it chamber, but
you thought you'd never say that. You're gonna have to change your name now.
I'm gonna change it now. But saying that, Barbara Broccoli, I think we reported on a couple of months back, where Barbara Broccoli turned around and described the Amazon people as fucking morons.
No, she called them fucking idiots. Her exact quote was fucking idiots because they want to create a Bond cinematic universe. No, it's like a Moneypenny series. No, right. The way you do James Bond is one movie every couple of years. It has to be a man.
Scarcity is a luxury. Think of it as a luxury brand. Scarcity is the bit that works with it. Yeah, that's the same with Star Wars. Star Wars worked on the same principle with the scarcity. One every 3 years.
I mean, Bezos has put out a thing, quite a serious thing, asking people who they think that the next Bond should be, and Henry Cavill is bump at the top. And I've got to admit that I still think Henry Cavill would be a fucking fantastic Bond. I genuinely do think he would be a very, very good Bond.
Yeah.
But what we need is him to be that more. See, I was talking to Chuck about this yesterday, and it's like Pierce Brosnan was kind of like the love child of Connery and Moore, right? So he had that slight tongue-in-cheek, but he also had that hardness, that thing. And Pierce Brosnan worked brilliantly. I mean, I get everybody has their favorite Bond, and I mean, I love Connery. I mean, there are more movies that I quite enjoy. I think GoldenEye is up there as one of my favorite Bond movies, but Casino Royale was quite good. Incidentally, the director of Casino Royale was the same guy that directed GoldenEye. So,
do you want to hear something funny? That was supposed to be Brosnan's last film.
Yes, I know.
It's just a bookend it and bring it round to the beginning.
But I think we need to go back to a Brosnan-esque Bond, right? In this day and age where, you know, you don't want it to be taken so seriously. You want a good film. You want the stunts. You want everything that is Bond. I still think Cavill could do it, but Amazon aren't going to do it. I mean, talk about, oh Jesus. You know, we're going to get a Moneypenny series. We're going to get some kind of spin-off fucking like you know, thing, or we'll probably have, you know, Q doesn't stand for quartermaster, it stands for queer. You know, we're going to get all of those things. It's fun.
Hang on. It would be QI for the straight spy. That's clever. That's clever.
But yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, I mean, if I had to vote for it, I would go with Cavill at the moment.
Yeah.
I think he would be a very good Bond.
He would.
But I just don't think he's going to get. I think he'll put. I think he. I wouldn't be surprised if he does get cast. If Amazon come to their fucking senses, right, and do what they've done with Reacher, Bond stands a chance, right? But if they go the way that Broccoli was frightened about, and why she called them fucking idiots, and create this cinematic universe and do these stupid game shows and everything else, Bond's fucked.
Right, the game show's fine. The game show's clearly not in the fucking Bond universe, yeah? Have you watched the game show?
Yes.
It was good. It was good TV, but it's not James Bond, and it's not in the James Bond universe. So I can accept the game show, which I think is fine. It's funny, saying hi to Duncan in chat. He literally was on the camera a moment ago. So I think that you could probably do a James Bond series, but you couldn't have James Bond in it, and you could do it as a lead into maybe to the next film, but you could only really do one. Yeah, so you could do something along the lines of, what was the thing with Eddie Redmayne recently? The Jackal. That was it. Thank you very much for reminding me, Keith. Appreciate that.
That was the most Bond thing that. I mean, what's that on now? It's on. Oh,
that was on. It's on Max.
On Max.
So
yeah.
So you could do, if you did something like that, you could get away with it. But if we got a Loretta fucking Lynch show, yeah, no, it's not going to work. If you want to sit there and have like a wokey version of it, no, it's not going to work. You need to have it so you've got a spy that's doing James Bond stuff, but not at James Bond level, so you can see him struggle and take longer to do it, because that's going to be more interesting to watch, yeah? Because it's like James Bond will blow through these people, but this guy's or gal is not as competent as him, and therefore it would be a bit more difficult for them to deal with. That would be entertaining. You could do it. My problem is Rings of Power.
Yes,
that's my problem.
But
you just go to Rings of Power. It's annoying because you look at Reacher.
There's going to be two ways Amazon will go. They won't go in the middle. They will either go the Rings of Power way, which will ruin it, or they go the Reacher way. If they go the Reacher way, we might be in thing. But that you've got. I still maintain that I want to see. Go back to GoldenEye. You know, have that tongue in cheek. You know, have a Ivana what's her face? What was it? Ivana Top or something?
Ivana. Oh,
she had some really freaking.
Her name was Xena Onatop.
Onatop, yeah, brilliant. I mean, GoldenEye is still one of the best Bond films.
Sorry, Famke Janssen, and that's fan bloody tastic.
But we need that slight. You need that tongue in cheek, but then you need that like amazing stuff. You know that you had that hardness, that seriousness, and again you had that in GoldenEye. GoldenEye's a fucking great movie, and it is one of the better Bond films in my opinion.
That was the first Bond film I liked, because I never really liked the other Bond films, I'll be honest with you. I never really enjoyed them as much until I watched that one. I watched that in the cinema with my friends in Woking. Crikey, that's a long time ago. It was 95, 94. I watched that, and I watched it with my friends, and I actually enjoyed that one. And that was a good film, and it had, I think the balance was just right, enough seriousness in it, and enough jokiness in it. You know, because you have to remember, James Bond firstly isn't a spy. M is the spy, and James Bond's the agent that the spy dispatches to kill whatever's bothering them. He's a blunt instrument that you send, go that way, make sure you get all your shit right, and murder everyone who stands in your way. Okay, good. Yeah, because the 00 agents aren't supposed to live very long. Yeah, and James Bond's supposed to be the one that's lived the longest out of all of them. Yeah, because if you look in other films, you've got like 006 and 5 and that from other films, they always get copped off, whether it's I can't remember which one, in the Roger Moore one that got killed right at the beginning. And then you've got Sean Bean in GoldenEye. They're always supposed to cop it because they're not supposed to last long. They are blunt instruments that they are dispatched to solve a problem. Yeah, and that's what you kind of need to remember in this. And as long as you've got Henry Cavill when he plays that part, yeah, the reason that he drinks so much and he smokes so much and he sleeps with women and drives cars fast is because tomorrow he might be fucking dead. So he doesn't give a shit.
And there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, here's the thing, right? You make a film like Goldeneye now, and people go and see it. The opening weekend, it'll do all right. Word of mouth will suddenly go, this is a bloody great Bond movie. It's going to make 800 million, maybe even 1 billion, right? Make it like that. Have him as a bit of a womanizer. Make it back into men want to be him, women want to be with him. There's nothing fucking wrong with that. And it will make the money. And then those small, minute idiots on the internet, you can just go, well, this movie just made 800 million. So you're wrong.
Yeah. And the other thing too, they need to do, and it's really, really fucking important, yeah? Stop giving everyone fucking executive producer credits who don't do anything and save your fucking money. Do pre-visualization and get this done right, because again, you look at Denis Villeneuve's work versus the stuff that's done on Marvel. He managed to get every drop of money out of his budget, where they fucked up because they did it without a script, without previs, without a fucking clue. So make sure you go in there and that. My advice would be as follows. Go find Chris Nolan and say, Chris Nolan, help us do this first Bond film and set up what Bond will be for the next 5 films. Literally, he doesn't have to direct it, but he can sit there and consult on it and say, this is what Bond should be like, yeah? And he'll sit there and he'll go, and he loves his location and stuff like that. And I imagine that he'll throw in some reference to India, because he loves the Indians, which is a good thing, because the Indians are nice people, yeah? And I'm not talking American Indians, I'm talking Indian Indians, yeah? And then we can get all this stuff sorted, yeah? And it will be fantastic. It really will be.
I agree. But that's the rule, right? Bond has to have locations. It has to have the music. Stop getting these progressive, stupid artists. I mean, get Adele back, for fuck's sake. She's got a voice. She can do a Bond song. Get Adele back. Throw a load of money at Adele, because she was probably the only decent Bond song in the Daniel Craig era that sounded like a damn Bond song. You can do openings, arguably having women all over the place is kind of null and void, but I mean, there are certain things he should, the whole thing about him, maybe dying tomorrow is why he doesn't have any ties, right? And there are plenty of people out there, and what sex between 2 people, if it's consenting, what's fucking wrong with Bond sleeping with all these women? I'm sorry, what's wrong with it?
It's
Make
like
Bond
cuddling,
good.
only damper.
Make Bond good again.
Yeah.
Make Bond great again.
Oh, don't.
I'm a bogger.
Don't.
Make Bond great again.
Bagger.
Bagger. I don't know.
Bagger. Bogger.
Bogger Bond. I know, dyslexic moment. I mean, I hope it goes the Reach away. I really do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and maybe get the people who made Reacher to look into making Bond. Maybe they've got the right thing where they respect the source material. It's funny because I'm going to save that for when we get to actually talk about Reacher. But just putting a thing on this. So it feels a bit like flipping a coin whether it will be good or not. But there is so much leaning on the fact that it's going to come up bloody tails and we're going to get shit Bond.
Well, I mean, they have paid $1 billion for it, so they paid $1 billion for Lord of the Rings, and they completely bollocks that up, and they keep on making it, and it's just like, why are you making this? Why?
But someone somewhere's got to go, hang on a second, this isn't making us any money, this isn't getting us any viewership, this isn't getting us anything of any value. People hate this. This is the only thing that people are talking about this and actively not watching this. And the viewership has fallen off, and it's going to be like in hundreds of thousands when it comes to Series 5, because they're going to keep funding it to Series 5. They really are. They are. They're that dense. Because the message is more important than the money. And on that note, we will move on to our next story. Oh, hang on a second. I think this one will. Hulu has officially renewed the political thriller series Paradise for a second season. Woo! The show, which premieres on the 26th of January, has garnered positive reviews, leading to its swift renewal in February 2025. Paradise is set in a vast underground bunker in Colorado, 3 years after a catastrophic event had rendered the surface uninhabitable. The narrative centers on Secret Service agent Xavier Collins, portrayed by Sterling K. Brown, who embarks on a quest to uncover the truth behind the assassination of President Cal Bradford, played by James Marsden. The ensemble cast includes Julianne Nicholson as Samantha Sinatra, Redmond, and Sarah Shatty, I can't say her name, who from fucking Person of Interest, who plays Dr. Gabriella Torbari. I don't know why. I'm terrible with these names.
I have less sympathy for her after this week's episode, but yeah, that's her name.
Yeah, I like the actress. She was great in Person of Interest. Have you ever watched Person of Interest?
No, but I know also.
Watch Person of Interest, Keith. You'll love it. It's great.
I know.
Okay, it's one of the procedural ones. It's one of those ones you can keep on in the background, and then all of a sudden you go, "Oh, that's good. Oh, I really like that," and then you'll start watching it if it makes any sense.
I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I will say this, right? Now, they're saying that we're going to get all the answers to Cal's murder in episode 8. We've got 2 episodes left, right? We're going to get some answers tomorrow. I believe it. But what I don't want it to be is, like I said, where it becomes lost. And that because they're giving us answers this quickly, I mean, I think they're not going to answer everything. We might get some answers around Atlanta. But that's going to give us a whole new mystery box. As long as you see, when we go into season 2, you're not going to have Cal, right? So potentially, or are you? I
don't know. No, well, you probably. I don't know.
There's only so much you can drag those flashbacks out before they become a bit late.
True. So just going back to, I think it does the right thing where it's like kind of it says, this is the question. Here's the answer. The answer leads to another question, which then leads to another thing, and it progresses, and you can see it progressing. Yeah, and it's like kind of why didn't you trust Billy? Because Billy was up to naughty shit. Yeah, and we found out that Billy was up to naughty shit. Yeah, and then it was like just going through there and just picking out all these things, and I can't talk about it because we're going to ruin our segment towards the end. But storyline is progressing, and I think it is progressing, and it's giving us answers, which then lead to more questions, and then lead to more answers. So it feels like you're learning as you're going along. Stuff is happening, which is really good in comparison to, say, the silo.
As it stands, I'm down for a season 2. Fucking make it for next year. Not a 2-year gap, because I know you're going to finish on the cliffhanger with a massive bloody question, right? Don't you bloody dare leave it more than a year. You aim to go live, premiere in January 2026. Don't fuck with this, right? This has got to be done quickly for this to carry on working. So no dicking about, it's going to take us 3 years to make another season of 8 episodes. Sorry, just annoys me.
No, that's fine. It's good. It's annoying because I want to talk about it, but I need to save it for the section towards the end. It's great that this has got another season. I do appreciate this. This is well written TV drama. Characters are likable in it. It's going through kind of mysteries and bits which make it a lot more entertaining, but it's got a nice pace to it. So where you've got Silo and From, 2 TV series that are kind of in the same vein, this one's making progress, and it feels like we're actually getting somewhere, which is what I appreciate. Crikey, they're all chatting away in the chat there. So let's move on to our next story. Hang on a second. Which one do I want? I will have... let's have this one. Oh no, Nigel.
Hi, this is Nigel, and I'm talking in my lovely narrator's voice. Bask in its loveliness. But don't bask for too long! We need your help. Come to YouTube and watch our videos for the love of God. Well, send Keith round to your next barbecue and he'll eat all your food. Toasty! You have been warned.
Marvel Studios is actively exploring the return of characters in its former Netflix series, specifically Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. I didn't say the Iron Fist into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This initiative follows the successful integration of Charlie Cox's Daredevils and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin into the recent MCU projects. Brad Winterbaum, Marvel's head of streaming television and animation, expressed enthusiasm about revisiting these characters, acknowledging the complexities involved in aligning actors' schedules and production demands. Christina Ritter, who portrays Jessica Jones, has conveyed her eagerness to reprise her role, stating that that returning would be so lovely. That's such a nice thing to say.
Give me some of that
I
Marvel
know.
money.
Yeah. While no official announcements have been made, her interest aligns with Marvel considerations. The potential reintroduction of these characters raises questions about the integration into the current MCU narrative, especially considering the upcoming series Daredevil Born Again, set to premiere on Disney Plus on March 4th, 2025. This series does not only bring back Cox and D'Onofrio, but also includes returning cast members such as Deborah Ann Woll and Eldon Henson, furthermore bridging the connection between the past and the present storylines. And I'm really glad they brought those characters back, because I like Karen and I like Foggy, and they work everything about that. I know people didn't like the third series Daredevil. I liked the third series Daredevil. I liked Bullseye. I'd like to have seen him in costume. I think the way they did Bullseye was really good. I loved second series with the Punisher, especially when having the conversation on the rooftop. And then kind of him then coming back towards the end. The thing with the hand in the hospital in the second series, that was fantastic. The first series, corridor fight, and the bit where the Kingpin does the heel turn at the end on the bridge when he gets broken out, where he declares that he is the man of ill intent, and then has a big punch up with Daredevil right at the end. Fantastic. Loved a lot of it. Probably the best thing that Disney Marvel's done. Yeah, I would sort of say one of the best things they've done, especially on TV. The only, actually, probably maybe the only thing that I can.
It was Netflix.
I know.
Pre-Disney Marvel.
I know.
Look, I liked Daredevil season 2. Daredevil season 3 was okay, just didn't wear the suit enough. What my problem with especially with Iron Fist was they never showed us Kunlun. They never showed us the dragon. They never showed us any of that bullshit, right? And it took them. I mean, Iron Fist first season was. I mean, both of them were dreadful. He was only Iron Fist in the Defenders. He was good in the Defenders, right?
Right. So I'm going to defend that poor actor. So that poor actor knew that he was Iron Fist 4 weeks out from filming, where Charlie Cox got 8 months. So Charlie Cox did a hell of a lot of training with poor matey Bob, who played Iron Fist.
It has nothing to do with him. It was the writing that was appalling. And
the writing was terrible.
It was the fact that they tried to make it. They almost were embarrassed by the comic book leanings, and they should have leaned into the comic book more. And that's the only thing. Like, Marvel is full on comic book, right? They, you get Captain America, and he looks like Captain America. Iron Man now looks like Iron Man. And they were saying, "Oh, this is in the MCU," but it never felt like it was in the MCU.
That was a whole point behind the Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Was to make it comic book accurate. So when you saw these things on TV, you saw what they would look like in the comic book, and that's why those first lot of films, were really good. Because they were trying to get it comic book accurate. Then all of a sudden, I think after Endgame, they decided this was embarrassing. Which isn't good.
I wasn't really a huge fan of the other shows. If I had to pick one, Jessica Jones season 1 with David Tennant was...
Tennant as the Purple Man, fucking brilliant.
But it was too long.
First half of Luke Cage, when he had Cottonmouth as the villain, that was brilliant. Cottonmouth was a fucking great villain. It was annoying that they bumped him off early. And then you had Iron Fist. The whole Colleen Wing becoming fucking Iron Fist was stupid.
Yeah,
it really was stupid. And I know you've got a soft spot for the actress. That's fine. You can have a soft spot for the actress.
The story was...
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was stupid. If they want to do something, they should reboot. If they want to do something, the first bit of prime ground if they rebooted Iron Fist, yeah, and you had Iron Fist and I can't remember his bloody name now, Luke Cage together, because I think there was an episode of Iron Fist where they were together, and an episode of Luke Cage where they're together, and they were brilliant together.
Yeah, and
I
they were
really
good in the
enjoyed that.
Defender. Yeah, and they were good in the Defenders. I mean, he was Iron Fist in the Defenders. But again, even the Defenders, like, you saw the dragon bones and everything, but they never gave us the comic book side of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Actually, probably other than Kingpin, David Tennant was really fucking good in it. I almost found Jessica Jones sometimes just a little bit too. I was like, fucking smile once, would you? I mean, I don't know. I found it a bit too. I liked David Tennant. I thought David Tennant was fantastic, but I think it was a bit too long. And I mean, you were unkind about her. No, I mean, you were right about her.
Face like a human sex doll. That's how I described her, if I remember correctly.
Yes, you were.
Because because her nasal cavity is so small, her mouth's constantly open. Mouth
I'm
breather.
not sure she were. I don't know if she was the right choice, Jessica Jones. I'm sorry, but I think Charlie Cox was. I think the guy that played Iron Fist was dealt a bad hand by bad writing, because actually he was pretty good in Defenders. I'll have to go back and watch the Defenders again. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure how I feel about this. I am still. I mean, we're gonna get Daredevil soon. It's only around the fucking corner. I have seen trailers that make it look really good. I have seen trailers that make it look not so good. I do not know yet. I think after Daredevil is done, let's see. And let's see if they bring back any of those characters in Daredevil, because they might. They might have some secret cameos in there. Let's see what Daredevil Season 4, which is effectively what it is, or Born Again, is like. They are going to kill Foggy. So prepare yourself for that. That is going to be the catalyst that makes him go berserk, and why he quits being Daredevil. I'm absolutely sure of it. The trailer doesn't show it, but that's what I'm convinced it is. But that, you know, despite what that the showrunner has said, that half the damn trailer is him sitting in a diner talking to the Kingpin, and that's awesome.
And yeah, that's really funny.
That is awesome.
It's funny because when you look at the comic book things, there's always this criticism, because they're always what's it Gary Bickler says about the DC CW shows were always in corridors talking about feelings, and then you had the comic books where they're always in cafes talking about this, that, and the other, rather than doing fighting. But this felt more like a heat sort of thing with the discussions and bits. And you could tell that they were two rivals, and this, that, and the other, and stuff had kicked off, and they had a history, and there was tension between the two of them, which made the conversation really interesting. And people kind of forget that. And I'm hoping that tension, that understanding of like kind of this, that, and the other, I think will work. And it's a case of Kingpin's the mayor. Daredevil's got to take him down. He retired because something happened. All right, hang on a second. I'm gonna make you a small bet. Yeah. I don't think Karen or Foggy is going to die at the beginning. I think it's someone else dies. But here's the twist. I think they die at the end. One of them.
Okay, we'll see. There's always a twist.
I think it happens towards the end. Because I think what they want to do is, if I was showrunner, I would do this. Oh, one of them's going to die. And then we go, oh my God, that's the thing that does it. And then something happens. Someone dies, it's not the person you think it is, and you think, oh, phew, I got away with it. And then you do it right at the fucking end, and everyone goes, ah, shit, I technically saw that coming. And then...
I mean, if they did get the showrunner wrong, because I think Season 3 had too much talking in the streets and not enough action. And I do like you've got to get the comic book action in there. It's a comic book series, so you've got to have him in the uniform fighting. And that was the biggest problem with Season 1. He didn't get the bloody costume until, it was, what was it, the 10th hour of the show? I mean, they were too long. That was the problem with them. They were too long. I hope that we get some of that talking, And if it seems like we saw in the trailer, I'm up for that. But we also got to have him back in the costume, kicking the shit out of people, because that's what Daredevil does.
Do you know what I would really like for a bit of MCU integration?
But
Spider-Man to turn up.
I don't think they'll do that. But
I don't think that's what I want, Keith. I know it won't happen, but a boy can dream, Keith.
But technically, he's near. Hell's Kitchen's not that far from where the Santorum is meant to be, so we might get to see the Santorum. We might get a little bit of hint of that. And I want them to embrace that. Look, we've got aliens now, right? We've seen it all, right? I still think... I mean, it depends what they do with it. Because they're resetting the MCU after this. So, next year, MCU gets reset. Right? And if you don't think that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. That's how we're getting the X-Men, mirror universes, and all the other fucking universes get into one. Because that's what happens in the comic book, and they're doing it. Which is potentially wise, because it gets rid of the fucking stupid 5-year gap, and it brings back Tony Stark and makes him a hero again.
I think that, I think if they're clever, they could sit there and goes, we're going to reset it. He clicks his fingers and he hits the undo button. Yeah, and all they have to do is just refilm the scene where Thor goes after Thanos, and he takes his head clean off. And that's it. Because it's like the go for the head, yeah? And it's just like, and it's like he went for the head and killed him. And that's it, game over. And that at the end of Infinity War is where Thanos was defeated outside of Wakanda.
I think they're going to do, but they amalgamate all the universes into one. So we're going to get X-Men and Avengers in the same universe. That's what they're going to do. And, I still think they're bringing back Tony Stark. I think Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America. I think it's bullshit what he's saying. And you can carry on being bullshit, but he is Captain America, and he should come back as Captain America.
Keith,
his movie career hasn't... Yeah. Sorry?
If he offered me $50 million, I think I'd fucking lie too.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what they offered Robert Downey Jr., and that's exactly... And Chris Evans' movie career hasn't exactly gone very well. Marvel go, here's 30 million, come back and pay Captain America. Yep.
Yeah.
Look, we have... I mean, yes, they wrote Endgame, and Endgame was responsible for killing the MCU. But they also wrote Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War. Infinity War, the more I watch that movie, the better it is.
Oh, it's great, because it's a Thanos story. It's Thanos' film, which makes it much more entertaining to watch. Anyway.
Yeah, we've still got a lot to cover, so let's get going.
Yeah. It's comment time. So let's go. And there's a lot of this. So, Chuck gets the gold star. First like and first to it. We're getting a hello, boys. Hello. Then we get 007 sadness. Get her hello from Laurie. Hello, Laurie. Say hello, Laurie, Keith.
Hello, Laurie.
Keith is warming up. Full-on 5-alarm rant. Yeah, definitely. And Laurie laughs at that. Bezos, Trump, Musk, they're all wankers. 007 is screwed. There is a slim chance, 20% chance that it's not, because I believe in the Pareto principle. And then there's Duncan, who was said hello in person and now saying hello in the chat. It's got Cavill's top pick for James Bond.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And everyone's saying hello to each other. And then he's off to watch the Liverpool game.
Lose.
And then
lose.
the missus is in there. They're not going to lose. This is Liverpool we're talking about. And they've got Tanith saying hello to everyone. And then everyone's saying hello back. Unfortunately, yes, he's my brother-in-law. That's Duncan they're talking about. And Chuck's family show.
It's a family fair. Sorry.
And then we've got Tanith saying, love David Tennant as the Purple Man.
Yeah,
and he was good as the Purple Man.
I agree with you.
Anyway, I'm going to very quickly through the comments this week. Sorry if anyone else is that. But got quite a bit to talk about in review terms. So, we have Reacher, Paradise, and I can't remember what the third one was. Severance, and...
Yeah. There was Zero Day on Netflix,
talk about Thomas...
which is quite... And we're talking about Thomas Crown. I would watch... It's only 6 episodes, so you can watch it on Netflix. Watch it.
Watch what?
Zero Day on Netflix with Robert De Niro.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Okay.
It's interesting.
I may do after this. So let's talk about Severance first, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Severance first. So there's a thing. There's some bits. I'm going to be honest with you. I watched it. I fell asleep in the middle. I've had a really tough week, and I watched it on Friday evening, and I watched the first 20 minutes, missed the middle 20 minutes, and got the last 20 minutes. So if I've missed anything, my bad. I hadn't had time to go back and rewatch it because it's my son's birthday.
He gets it on with Heliar under a desk.
Ah, proper Heliar.
Yeah, proper Heliar. Yeah.
Ah, okay, cool. All right. So there's still the whole thing with the severed bits. I know that Milchek was still reeling from his bad performance, and I noticed some. He was given advice by the 14-year-old that they've got running the department. Yeah, it was just like, don't treat them as people, which is not necessarily a good thing. That's all. This is where I sometimes think it's a sneer at people who do office jobs. Seriously. So we got that. They had the bit where Watsonish got upset in the toilet because it's like kind of, I slept with what I thought was you, but it turned out that it was your outie, not your innie, which just always sounds like talking about belly buttons. And then there's this whole desynchronizing sort of thing where his memories are now starting to merge into one, where it's like kind of he was in his house and this, that, and the other. And I think that the office that you see in Severance isn't what the office actually looks like. I think the office is something else. I think the office and the computer screens and everything else does not match with reality. I think it's a constructed reality that they're seeing. And the reasons I say that is the seeing people who aren't there. And when he was looking at his desk, he was seeing the picture like it was and wasn't there. And there's this weird clean look to it that makes the severed floor look like no one lives there. But we all know that if you've ever worked in places, dust, this, that, and the other, manky bits.
It was weird about the bit where she has to go into the chip, and she says there was already a hole in your head. So they've left an open hole in his head. And then you see that. I mean, she's right in there in his brain and stuff. So he's got that hole in it, and he just runs around with it covered up. So that was a bit strange. There was less of the satanic and stuff this week, but it was a bit of a filler episode, I think, this week. The guy that played the husband, what's his face?
The fat fella.
No. Oh yeah, that I found that sad. The wife prefers the innie. To the outie, and then she's like all offish with the outie. No, I'm talking about the gay guy and his husband. Yes,
Bert or Herb or whatever it is.
I mean, I the actor who was in Lord of the Rings and what's his face?
John Noble.
Yes, John Noble turns up, and that whole thing was a bit uncomfortable, and I still don't quite 100% understand why that.
Was that a conversation about the two being technically your innie is another soul?
Yes.
Yeah. So that goes back to the whole satanic kind of thing where they're kind of owning people, which is not a good thing.
It was slightly odd that, and I don't quite know why Bert went and everything, and it's all a bit. I didn't get a lot from this episode, really. I mean, Heliar, she comes back to him and she goes, yeah, but you thought you were sleeping with me, so now I want to experience it. And she takes and shags him under a desk, which is covered by plastic. It's a bit kind of like, not very comfortable.
Why didn't they do it in the health and wellness room? That's what it's for.
Exactly.
Comfortable sofas, just saying.
And then there was Milchek sort of shouting at himself in the mirror. Which is all.
Milchek is going to do a turn and join them. He's getting pushed to do a turn. He's being set up to join them. And I think it's funny because I think the previous manager of the floor will be the same too. And they two will team up.
But it is beginning to feel a bit slow. There are still no answers, right? There are still no we haven't had his wife at all. I mean, either the actress wasn't cast or she's disappeared, or she wasn't required for this season. But that's been a bit odd that we haven't seen the wife at all. They've got to start giving answers, or I'm going to begin to get a bit. I'm beginning after you had that the episode outside. You thought, okay, it's picking up the pace, and it slowed right back down again. And I'm not sure that the story of him combining his memories is enough to. The first season was compelling because it ramped up and up and up and up and up and up towards the end. This season hasn't done that. It started ramping up and then it's slowed. It's put the brakes on.
The only ramp up is this Cold Harbour thing. They're talking about him completing Cold Harbour.
Yeah,
that's it. But it hasn't done it properly.
They're not ramping it. They've slammed on the brakes in this episode quite a bit, and I don't know. Maybe it's the mood. I mean, let's see what it's like the next episode. But I didn't think much of this episode, I have to admit.
That's fine. As I said, I fell asleep, so couldn't have held my attention that well, I'll be frank with you. No. But maybe it'll get better towards. I think we've got 2 left. Is it 2 left?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, 2 left, and then probably wait 3 years for the next one, because that's how they do things on streaming. That's not fucking irritating, pardon my language. But hey, all right. So Reacher or Paradise?
Let's do Reacher first.
Okay. So first 3 episodes of Reacher. I'll be honest with you. If I just watched the first episode on its own, I don't think it would have worked for me. But watching the 3 together works for me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, because there were lots of stuff that was put in that first episode, that then got explained in the second episode, and then the third episode then kind of gave it a bit more motion storyline wise. So the 3 episodes, watching all of them, worked really well for me. The whole first thing looked a bit mad, shooting the copper and whatnot, and then when you get it explained in the second episode, it's like, oh no, it makes perfect sense. There are some bits that I really like in it. They've got the things in the second episode. They've got I'm going to call him the henchman, who was supposed to be the kid's bodyguard in the thingy, and he insults the woman after she smashes him in the face with a book a couple of times. And then the 2 guys kind of close rank and file, and then they give him that look like, no, you don't insult our boss like that. I really like that. That felt kind of warm and fuzzy, and I like those little things when people do those little things. And then there's the poor bastard that he kills in the mill. And then you've got what's his name? Anthony Michael Hall, who plays what looks like the bad guy but isn't the bad guy. He's the I can't remember the actor's the character's name. I can remember the actor's name, but not the character's name. He's the father of the son.
I mean, he's not the main bad guy, because the son reveals that they're working for the guy that is an absolute bastard that Reacher sees right at the beginning, right? Which sort of, or no, sees mid-episode. But there hasn't been... The thing is, right, I wish they'd never put the whole arm wrestle thing with the hench guy in the trailer.
Oh.
Because I knew that was coming. I love that scene. It's fucking funny, but I saw it in the trailer.
It was. I didn't see that in the trailer, but that was fucking obvious that was going to happen.
Yes, but it was funny.
So really good.
And, I mean, it's funny how he's dispatched. I mean, but the little sort of gangster shit that takes him to find the car. He smacks his head onto a freaking receipt thing. I was like, wow, he's gone. Those 2 dickheads got it next, and then the real sort of pissed off, head of thing. I mean, I like the way he got dispatched. That was just
that was
brutal.
Good.
And deserved. Yeah, look, I like Reacher. I enjoyed this. He's blatantly going to get it on with DEA chick.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, he's blatantly going to get it on with her.
I don't know because part of me's thinking maybe he's just going to be a bit too fucking busy with stuff.
No. That's going to happen.
It's a great look because he goes out. He gets out of his fucking room and he goes out and swims in his pants, and he's just walking down the road casually, and then takes his pants off in front of her. It's like, just put it all back on. And it sounds awful, yeah. And I said this the first season he looked a bit too pretty, but now he looks a bit more ugly. Sorry, Alan. If I met Alan Richardson, I wouldn't necessarily say that to him, but he looks a bit more character-like.
I don't know if he looks ugly. I think he looks. I think he looks. I don't know. I don't know if he looks less handsome. I think he is quite a handsome chap. I just think he looks a bit more weathered, which is what he's meant to look at this point. And I like what's her face. I mean, his like fellow. She's like what's he? I mean, she's like his sister, but she was his fellow work thing. The black chick, Negley. I like Negley. I like Negley because she doesn't come across as a sort of girl boss, but I quite like her.
So the thing with Negley is, and I said this to Tanya when we were watching it, and she completely agreed with me, is Negley is this character first, and then just happens to be a lesbian. In all other things, it would just fucking focus on her being a fucking lesbian. But instead of that, she's like a hacker. She works with these people. She's doing contract work, this, that, and the other. You know that she can handle herself because you've seen it. You don't have to ever anyone fucking exposit it to you. She just does, and she's fantastic. And you really like her as a character because she's a character first. Yeah. And when you see her, and it's her and the cop from the first one, are the two people that turn up, and it gives me a big fucking smile when I see them. It's like, because you like them.
I like Negley. Negley I could go and have a pint with down the pub, and I mean that in a nice way. I like
because you can argue
Negley
about
cares
tech,
about Reacher.
boring tech stuff.
Yes, exactly. She's a geek. She's a nerd.
Yes.
I think her caring about Reacher is good as well. She's kind of like his center, if that makes sense. And I mean, she's going to get involved, which is good. And I enjoyed Reacher. I know what you mean by the 3 episodes. But I enjoyed it. I like it being back just him again, although Negley on the side. But I need to see some more of him kicking the shit out of people. There needs to be a bit more fighting. I mean, it needs to be a bit more sort of Cobra Kai like in terms of beating people up. You know what I mean?
I think it builds to these bits where it kind of gets sorted out. I like the fact that they managed to find someone bigger than him. That put us like, fuck it, this guy here. I watched an interview with him because it goes, when they looked at him and they studied him, they checked to see if he had gigantism. Yeah, and it turns out, goes, the signs of gigantism are like you get chubby fingers and a big fucking jaw. Hasn't got any of that. They just described him as a giant.
He's a big motherfucker.
Just giant outright. He is a big motherfucker.
Big motherfucker.
And you kind of feel sorry for the kid, yeah, because the kid's. Yes. And it's quite nice when he turns around and goes, if you run away, it goes, I'll help you. He goes, but if they come after me, it goes, I've saved you once, I'll save you again. Simple. And I like that. And it's quite nice that he's looking out for him.
The bully scene was great. The bully scene where he just like Reach just turns up. It's like, it fucking kicks it. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. I like seeing sports shits like that. Reacher just kicks the shit out of him. He doesn't give a shit, and I always cheer when that shit happens. So no, I enjoyed Reacher. I watched all 3 episodes like you and really liked it. So yeah. Glad it's back. Good TV.
Kind of like the setup of it too, which is good.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Paradise.
Paradise. So. What did we have this week? We had the sign writing was left over from last week.
Yeah.
So the sign was up there for fucking almost a day, which I liked because it was like kind of they're lying to you, and then it changed.
And then they used the 24 style countdown, which like, you know, the 24. Doom, doom. You know how the 24 had those big sort of. It was 24. It was a tribute to 24, and I loved all the fucking Die Hard references. I loved the bit. I pissed myself laughing when they walked in. It was like, ho, 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 now we've got all the guns, ho, ho, ho. And Sinatra was like, why is he talking about Father Christmas? Like, it's a Die Hard reference, man.
I love that, because when you have the flashback with him and Cal's like kind of, Die Hard. He goes, I've never seen it. Because we're remedying that. And that's that's a good thing because you know that he watched that with Cal, and it's kind of like a weird, nice callback. And it's weird because my thoughts on the Cal, the president character, I kind of find a little flitting.
Yes,
it's a bit weird because
But
it's
it's
like
deliberate.
kind of.
It's deliberate.
It's like he's a nice guy, but he still agreed to all the shit that's going on. But you know it weighed on him. But he was also left out of the loop too. So you get this kind of weird flitting backwards and forwards on the characters. You're a bit hot and cold on him.
I think. Oh, I've never been cold on him. But I understand where you're coming from. But I think more importantly, he's going to end up forgiving Cal at the end of this, right? At the end of this season, Sinatra. I was irritated. You're meant to feel sympathy for her. I was irritated by her because she's suddenly scared for her family. Then she turns into this complete bitch at the end of it. She needs to die. At the moment, I'm not in the feeling sympathy for Sinatra camp.
Yeah, no, same here. We've got a chunk of her character missing.
Yes.
Yeah, because you saw the beginning of her character and you saw kind of her journey and you kind of saw her being like loving towards her poor dying son and this, that, and the other. And then there's something happened and the change, and we need to see that something happened and the change in a flashback. And it's not just
it's not just the death of her son. There's more to it because, you see her worried about her family, and I did like the bit where he fires the fireworks at the thing. He's like, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!" And I was like, "Yes." Yeah. No, that was good. I enjoyed this week's episode. It was better than the last week's episode. It alluded. I do think she's alive. I think there's another bunker or another city, or not probably a full-on city. I think there's a site B.
Bunkers. I think there are bunkers because the nuclear bunkers. And Keith, it wasn't a supervolcano. They said that 2 thermonuclear devices detonate near Atlanta.
No, they said there were 2 nuclear devices in Atlanta. They did not say detonate. They did not. Detonate. No, they didn't, because I thought they said that, and I went back and watched it again earlier. I watched it again.
I'm gonna watch it again on a video on WhatsApp and send it to you.
I don't think they said
went
detonate.
off. How about this then? Hang on a second. Went off then.
Well, yeah, but again, there was all this stuff going on in Atlanta and all this, and how can she still be alive if 2 nukes went off?
Hold on, right? So what? Right, so there was a
because I think she is alive.
So hang on a second. So Xavier made a comment about slaughterhouses, yeah?
Yeah.
How they get corralled into slaughterhouses, this, that, and it gets narrower and narrower and narrower. I think it went like this. There's a supervolcano that's going to go off, but they didn't wait, and they started firing fucking nukes. So everyone was lied to get them in there. I think that might be the big thing.
You could be right, but I think they're in a Site B. I think the wife is deliberately in a Site B, and I think it's like a small version of what they've got, right? It's a bunker, but I think it's a bit bigger than your average bunker. I think it does have daylight.
The reason I'm going to say that you're probably right is that they showed you the bunker under the White House.
Yes,
and I don't think it's a bunker like they've got.
No, I think it's kind of a. I keep using the Jurassic Park Site B thing because I think it was the test site for the main.
No, I don't think it's test site. I just think it's a bunker. I think it's a nuclear bunker, and they use it. And the reason that I say that is because they showed you a bunker already, which means if whatever happened, if they were near a bunker, they probably got into a bunker.
We're going to get a shitload of answers before. I think we will find out who killed Cal. She said she didn't kill Cal, so there's a whole fucking third protagonist.
Oh, I think she's fucking lying.
No, I don't. I don't think she's lying about it, because she says, I would have killed him if he carried on digging, but I didn't kill him.
I tried to. Someone killed him before I got a chance to.
Or it was his dad.
Yeah. So, the great thing about the TV show is I think we're going to get the answers.
Oh, they've said we're going to get the answer to Cal. Which my only concern about continuing this, right, is I agree with you that we're getting the answers and we're getting questions, right? But the problem with shows like this is when you rely on flashbacks, which they do, right? you run out of flashbacks, and then it feels like it's shoehorned in. What I don't want to suddenly get is a flashback that was set between two flashbacks that we've already seen, and it doesn't feel natural. And so I hope that they've done a JMS and they've got a playbook for this, that they know where it's going, and that they've got a playbook beyond season 1. They've got a Bible, that they've mapped this out so that it does feel like, or you know, we're in the city, the first one, then we're in another one, you know, in something else, because there could be another city, there could be like a smaller site B, and that might be a good idea, and things like that. To keep this going, it's got to feel natural. That's what I mean. So if we solve Cal's thing, which is what they're promising,
I given the way it's gone, I've got quite a lot of faith.
Yeah, I agree with it. I mean, I still think the way they've done the first episode, the way they did that first episode was genius. I mean, it was very clever writing, the way, because nobody saw that shit coming, right? And that was like, well, this is not what I think it is. I hope they do that again at the end of season 2. They give us a completely different show. They refresh it, along with the characters. But let's see what happens next. I mean, you can't keep Sinatra and him alive together in the same place for much longer. There has to, again, that something has to happen.
Okay.
So
I can't wait. I can't. Next episode, I'm looking forward to it. I'm annoyed because it comes out. It came out on Monday. It comes out on bloody Saturday, doesn't it?
No, it's not. It's Monday.
Monday
or Tuesday? Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Monday or Tuesday.
Not in the UK. Not in the UK.
Saturday.
Saturday in the UK.
Did you only see episode 6 like the other day?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, dude. What, on Disney Plus?
I said no. Mm-hmm.
It gets released on Disney Plus here on Monday. No comment.
Anyway, we'll park that there for the moment. So our next in the John McTiernan list was the Thomas Crown Affair, and I know you watched it last week, and you have to forgive me for not. I've had lots of stuff going on, and you know I've had lots of stuff going on, which is just great fun. So Thomas Crown Affair, billionaire playboy decides to steal a Monet painting from the Metropolitan Art Museum, just for the thrill of it. And you've got Pierce Brosnan, who's not playing James Bond. Honestly, he's not being James Bond at all in this. Playing Thomas Crown, the name of the protagonist from the feature. So it starts off. He's going to work, goes to see the thingy, leaves his briefcase in the thingy in the art museum, goes back to his office, finds his briefcase, goes back to the art museum, then steals it. And what gets me, he's got that briefcase, he puts the thing in the briefcase and then he folds it over. Part of me is like, kind of, dude, if that's an oil painting, that's gonna fucking rub, that's not good, but we'll have to suspend that disbelief because that bugged me just ever so much, which shouldn't bug me, but it didn't do it. So that whole thing, that was thrilling because it was like he clearly hired these goons to pretend to rob it and then actually rob it, and then a couple of days later secretly return it. And it's great because everything in there was set up for that last bit at the end, so you didn't feel cheated or something new was there. So for example, the hidden painting where he had what they thought was the original, but it wasn't the original because it was painted over the dogs playing poker, because that's what he'd done with theirs, where he gave them a fake Monet which would then be washed off because it was water based. And then you had him stealing the other picture, the Faceless Businessman, where he plays the shell game. Even the titles, if you watch the titles, the shell game's being played with the bloody letters all the way through the title sequence. So yeah, it was a remake of a 1968 Steve McQueen film, I think.
And the what's her face as his
Faye Dunaway,
Faye Dunaway as his therapist.
His therapist,
she was the Rene Russo role in the original film, which I thought was kind of neat. You said it sagged in the middle. I enjoyed the whole film. I enjoyed the middle bit with the dance, the tango, with her in the see-through dress. That's awesome. For many reasons,
right,
Gav. For many
okay,
reasons.
all right. For 2 reasons, Keith. It's always 2 reasons. Remember, okay. It's whenever you say this, for reasons, there are always 2 of them. So I always got the impression of Catherine Banning. I think it is Catherine Banning, who's the Rene Russo character. The first impression you get of her, is that she drinks a lot, because she comes in and she's like, "Don't talk to me." What's that? You don't want to know. And you kind of get the impression she's a bit unsettled as a person, if that makes any sense. And I think that's intentional, because you want to make it look like that. And then there's the whole. It's weird because John McTiernan does action really well. So the heist part, really well. The intrigue behind the heist part, really well. The heist towards the end, really well. And then he's got the romantic bit in the middle, where I think he struggled. They're not. I hated the soundtrack on it. There were 2 pieces of music that I liked, and it's the Cinnamon bit at the end. I can't remember her bloody name now. Who sung it?
Yes, but I like the whole thing with the multiple faceless businessmen. And I like the middle bit with the glider and everything, because it shows them playing off it. I mean, I can understand why some people might think that's sagged, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed them going off on that holiday together, because
the reason I felt it sagged is it because it detracts, because you were told, oh, it's about him stealing the paint. Oh, it's about him being this thrill seeker, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went, now it's about him and Rene Russo, and it's like kind of they should have like intertwined it a bit better. It was always
about these 2 similar people meeting each other and being, 2 equals. She was his equal and he was her equal. And I love the ending. I love the ending. I think the ending is great. Where she's like, when he puts the tissue around and does this little Scottish accent, she turns around, she fucking leaps on him and smacks him for setting up the whole thing, and then kisses him. It's like, you did, you. And I loved it. I'd only ever seen this when I rented it on a VHS years ago, right? And watching it again, I really enjoyed it. I liked the glider scene. I can understand why you would say it sagged. For me, it didn't sag, but I can understand why some people would think that, and that's fair enough. It's subjective, but I liked the movie. I thought it was good. I actually genuinely quite enjoyed it again, and I thought Pierce Brosnan was great. I thought Rene Russo was great, and I liked the chemistry between them, and I liked the ending. The ending's great. The Cinnamon. The whole, he walks in and looks up, and then and I like the Trojan horse at the beginning. I thought the Trojan horse thing was genius.
Oh, I love the way Dennis Leary's character goes. He came in a fucking horse like that, and he was like, "Did you?" Yeah.
I thought that was great. I loved the symbology of it as well. I loved it. No, it was genius. I thought it was a good film. Is it the best heist film ever made? No, but it's a damn good heist film.
Yeah.
What have we got next? Is it really bad now?
Oh, fucking hell. I don't know, actually. Let's just have a look what we got next. So, IMDb. That'll do. Hang on a second. I think it's got Basic might be next, which isn't bad. It's the rollerball one that I'm not looking forward to. John McTiernan. It's annoying because
he wrote a sequel. Tiernan has got a sequel to Thomas Crown. But it's never been made. But he does have a sequel to it.
13th Warrior next.
Is it? Okay.
13th Warrior. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. Same year.
Okay.
That's the one with what's his mush? I can't remember the. Yes, it is him. Thank fuck for that. It's the one I am thinking about. Antonio Banderas. So yes, I have to watch 13th Warrior because that was a good one. And then we've got after 13th Warrior. It's Rollerball, which is the one I'm not looking forward to.
So is Basic his last one?
Basic's his last one, yeah.
Right.
Which might be an okay one. It's weird because he kind of, you can see he needed someone. I think he needed someone alongside him to help him out a bit. But he's a really competent director is the first thing. So yeah, But it'll be interesting to figure out. But Thomas Crown Affair, as I said, sagged in the middle. I'd like the end. I really like the end. That was good. The romance angle in it, I don't think was sold to me as well as it may have been sold to you. And that might be my biggest criticism of it, is that romance part. But the heist parts, loved. I love the heist parts. I love the cat and mouse. The cat and mouse, brilliant. Yeah, all that intrigue and all that stuff worked. But for me, the romance bit didn't work. That might be why I didn't like Medicine Man either, because that was supposed to be romantic. It didn't come across as romantic.
I mean, look, I know what you guys said about Medicine Man. I mostly agree. I just like Sean Connery. But I found the woman in that annoying, whereas this I didn't. I kind of like Rene Russo's character in this. And infinitely, I know I'd pick this film over Medicine Man any day of the week. This was a good film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next one, 13th Warrior to watch.
Okay.
And we'll have some more Reacher, some more Severance, some more Paradise. So that'll be good. And then hopefully we'll have some more news. So, before we go, if you have reached this far in the podcast or on the YouTube video, I would like you to do the following. Put in the comments an insult to one of us. You can be anything. Gareth's bald, Keith's fat, both true. Give us a like. If you've been listening to us on the podcast, I would like you to leave a comment, because if you got this far, we would like to know that you exist. And we would like to thank you. Okay? Mm-hmm. I really seriously mean it. We would like to thank you, because we've got a lot more listeners and watchers than we think, because the stats show it. But we would like to just engage with you. Just write anything you want in the chat, and we will talk to you. And if you've joined in the chat before and you've written something and we didn't get around to saying it, just pop it down. All right. Oh my God, Gene Knowles. Oh, boo. Hello, Gene. Thank you, Gene. Well, didn't notice that we had a Gene Knowles there.
I was about to say, boo us.
Yes, boo us. Boo us. Look, not much hair. You got that? You can take the piss out of my hair. The reason I don't put it on is because the light shines off the top of my head. I always keep the cap on just because of lighting reasons. So you can just insult us. But thank you very much, Gene. I appreciate that. Anyway, it's goodbye from me.
That's goodbye from him.
And we will see you in the next podcast wave. Say goodbye, Keith.
Bye.